So I would like to welcome everyone to our Ninjo practice evening, and we'll begin with our opening aspiration. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings always be free from pain and suffering. And from Shantideva, for as long as space abides, as long as the world remains, just so long may I be there, resolving all beings' pain. And our request for teachings, reflecting on all beings, our specific states of mind, great or lesser, will you please turn our wheel of Dharma now? So welcome everyone to our evening of Nunjo. We've made so many strides in learning the practice, and this evening we're going to go even more deeply. Before we do that, this evening is a special evening in that in the land of snow, Asa Rinpoche is conducting the Amitabha festival. And Amitabha is the great Buddha of light. Perhaps photos have been seen. It's actually a red Buddha and a magnetizing Buddha and bringing limitless light to our world. So this evening, in honor of that festival and in connecting with all of those who are doing the practice tonight, I would like to read the Amitabha practice that is being done at the festival. Outer vessel, the great bliss, pure land, inner essence, all Amitabhas, Vajra mantra sound, unborn, empty, bring thought and sheer rig to path as one. Vessel, essence, all ever Mandell, chant the living heart of the grace mind. Om Amitabha Ayusiddhi Hungri. And we'll just take a moment and do 7 of those. Om Amitabha Ayusiddhi Hungri. 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 Emaho, great bliss land, Gönpa Amitabha, Chenrezi Vajrapani, through these my coarse, fine, composed virtue sources are sealed in the stainless Dharma sphere. All which roots of goodness I do share. So 6 kinds of beings, my mothers, be born in the pure land of great bliss. So it's a very simple, simple, simple prayer where we invoke Amitabha, the red Buddha of limitless light, and we say the short mantra, Om Amitabha Ayusiddhi Hungri, and we share our merit. A very simple one. So this evening, we are going to introduce the pages that include Yeshe Tsogyal and Padmasambhava. These are our very first steps towards the Guru Yoga. And when we meet next, we will begin with receiving the blessings. But first, we want to make sure that we feel connected and we have some idea of who is Yeshe Tsogyal, and for our text, who is Vajrayogini, and of course, a deeper connection with Padmasambhava. And how do we do that? So the next step in the text is called Guru Yoga. And we have Yeshe Tsogyal as Vajrayogini. So Vajrayogini is naked with bone ornaments, holding a small drum and her hand at her hip. And we read, Emaho, in my vision copper mount. And that refers to the Copper Mountain, which is where Guru Rinpoche lives. In my copper mount, I am Vajrayogini. At my crown, lotus, sun, moon, mark signs, adornments complete, 3 root rigs and seas surround, clear, great, empty, sight, sameness. And there is a little bit more of an elaborate reading of this. Endless land, pure, self-arisen vision. So we're having to call upon our inner vision to bring that image of Yeshe Tsogyal as Vajrayogini. And so it reads, endless land, pure self, arisen vision. And we're starting to come to understand that all is coming from our hearts. All is coming from that compassionate responsiveness. And so when we're starting to work with Yeshe Tsogyal wrote a book on the Padmasambhava, kind of a history, Padmasambhava coming to Tibet. Yeshe Tsogyal a lot of times is talked about as the consort of Padmasambhava. Actually, she also attained complete enlightenment. They both practiced in Bhutan, where everybody's seen pictures of the tiger's nest, and very deep, ardent practice. And she is the one who wrote down all the teachings of the Dharmas, the hidden teachings for discovery, sometimes in mind streams, sometimes in rocks, sometimes in waters, for teachings that would be appropriate for the correct time. So she's a very powerful figure. And the reason that we invoke Yeshe Tsogyal is that she is considered a supreme practitioner. So sometimes we might think, well, I'm not quite sure how my practice is going. But when we assume the stance of Yeshe Tsogyal, then we also assume the stance of that kind of a practitioner, someone who is ardent, who practices from the depth, and also has a very deep devotion. So these practices begin to come into a territory where we might even hesitate. Well, these are devotional practices, or these are faith practices, and what does that mean? Because sometimes that word can be encumbered, and yet at the same time, it is really based in trust. It's based in trust within ourselves. It's based in trust that we have that complete capacity as Yeshe Tsogyal did, and so that we can embody that and we can call upon Guru Rinpoche from that form. So this is a little bit more of an elaborate explanation. As you know, we are doing a concise version called Waves of Splendor, and this is a little more elaborate. So Emaho, endless land, pure self-risen vision, splendid copper mountain, fully there. Me, Vajrayogini, as center. So we become Vajrayogini. one head, two hands, clear red, again, that red color, curved knife and skull, my three eyes skyward, and pulse to dance, and standing on the sun and the moon. And on my crown, lotus, my root lama. So there is Padmasambhava. And for those who have a connection or want to develop the connection, it's also, remember when we brought up, when we did our calling the Lama from our hearts to our crown chakra, we can also call upon Azam Rinpoche, who gave us this beautiful practice of waves of splendor. And his energy merges with Padmasambhava, making that image even stronger. So as is comfortable. So on my crown, lotus, my root lama, one with all refuge, lake-born tuku. Lake-born, again, refers to Padmasambhava, who is said to have been born in a lotus on a lake. So the lake-born tuku. Red tinged white skin, youthful, wearing a gown, dharma robes, and fine brocade shawl. It's said that Guru Rinpoche wears 9 robes, and one for each of the yanas, because he encompasses all of the Buddhist tradition. One face, 2 hands, royal in bearing, right hand Vajra holds a skull vase in left hand, wearing the hat of Pema Nungzu. And the hat of Pema Nungzu goes back to a story, because when Padmasambhava came to Tibet, not everybody welcomed him. And at one point, there was a king who tried to actually burn him and set him on fire, but he did not burn. And so that king gave him his hat as a bow to his greatness. So wearing the hat of Pema Nungzu, at left arm his bliss emptiness yum. In her secret form, 3 pointed staff. You'll see Padmasambhava with the staff. He rides glowing rainbow orbed expanse, and with 5 lights, all of the colors laced all around that expanse, where the Lord with 25 tukus, and it said that Padmasambhava had 25 disciples, sages from India and Tibet, Rigzin, Yidams, gods, dakinis, and protectors, vowed ones, gather like clouds, shining in one empty clarity. So this is a deeper description. And as we have been learning in the way that we are learning, there are physical descriptions, and I'm going to refer to a couple of books this evening that is actually on the Samden Ling website, and they have some more elaborate descriptions. Our goal in practice is really to connect to the energy of Padmasambhava and the Longqing Nyingtig lineage. So there's a very beautiful book, and it is on the Samden Ling website, and we have the links for all of these books, which is called White Lotus. And White Lotus is an exclamation of what we're going to go over tonight, of the 7-line prayer. And the 7-line prayer is done by many, many people. It's the way that we invoke Padmasambhava. So this book, The White Lotus, is just very lovely. It's very concise, and it's very nicely written. So just in the first paragraph of the foreword, it says, the origin of the Buddhist teachings in our world was from Shakyamuni Buddha, who, in his unequaled compassion for beings and his wish to bring them all to perfect freedom, is praised in the scriptures as a white lotus among the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate kalpa, means many thousands of years. Before his passing into parinirvana, the Buddha prophesied that his activities would be prolonged and his teachings propagated and protected by Padmasambhava, whom Tibetan Buddhists frequently refer to as Guru Rinpoche, precious master. So you'll hear a few of these terms: Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche, Lakeborn Vajra. It's all referring to Padmasambhava, who we are going to call upon with the 7-line prayer. And again, a further explanation of the 7-line prayer is in the book White Lotus, which is on the www.samdenling.org under resources. The reason that I mention the website and the books is that the website was designed with all of us in mind so that we can practice the Longqing Ningtig Nunzhou, and also we have resources. So there's the resource page and the video page. And this is just going to be so helpful and useful for people over the years. And then for the practice and how this all fits together is, as we've talked about, through the teachings of Longchen Rabjam and Jigme Lingpa. So as we are going to be invoking Padmasambhava, as we are going to be becoming Vajrayogini, we also want to remember that it's all being done in a context of the Longqing Ningtig Nunzhou. So for many of us, we're learning new words, we're hearing about new people, we're connecting to a very developed practice and lineage. And another book that I want to resource is called A Marvelous Garland of Rare Gems. And this book was not only recommended, but many years ago, Samden Ling was asked to use this book for a book club. And it's quite thick. And Asam Rinpoche read, I think it's about 5 or 10 pages of the list of people who are in this book. So because we ourselves are very concise, what I'm going to refer to in this book is about 60 pages, because there is a very beautiful biographical description of Longchen Rabjam Drime Ozer, which is another one of his names referring to his inner light. And it starts on page, I believe it's 98. So this is another very nice resource, again, not to be overwhelming, but to give a very good background for us should we want to resource that. And another book, which is actually not yet on the website, again, this was written by Yeshe Tsogyal, and it's Padmasambhava Comes to Tibet. And what's very fascinating is that Padmasambhava is, as we've talked about before, came from the Swat Valley, and the Swat Valley is in what is now Pakistan. And it was an area also very close to another area which was known for a community called Hunza. And these were people who lived very long lives and also had incredibly nutritious food. And I remember, and when I was in India, I would hear about the apricots in Hunza. So when Padmasambhava came to Tibet, and this book is called Padmasambhava comes to Tibet. It became a different relationship through Buddhism because, for example, when I was studying in Zen, I didn't hear about Padmasambhava. When I was studying in Theravada, I didn't hear about Padmasambhava. And at the same time, the texts which are through Tibetan Buddhism all talk about the prediction of Padmasambhava coming, sometimes called a second Buddha, and sometimes the same exact as Buddha. So this is from, again, Padmasambhava. And he says, again, written by Yeshe Tsogyal, while I was practicing sadhana in solitude on the upper slopes near Chimpuk, and you'll remember that Chimpuk is above the first monastery, Samye, and that's also where I met Azam Rinpoche many years ago. So near Chimpuk, above the monastery of Samden Ling, King Trisen Detsu and others of the 25 disciples came to me and presented the offering of gold and other precious gifts. And we've also talked about, when we talked about merit and we talked about offerings, about the formality of offering before receiving teachings. It's a gift, and it's also a way to honor the teacher. So, offering of gold and precious gifts, entreating me to unfold the mandala of the unity of all Buddhas. After I had disclosed the mandala, I gave them this initiation. So, in the teachings through Tibetan Buddhism, Padmasambhava is considered a coalescence of all the Buddhas. So perhaps we could say all of the Buddha wisdom, perhaps we could say all of the Buddha compassion. For myself, this coalescence of all of the Buddhas is very satisfying. It means I don't have to be thinking about this Buddha and that Buddha, but rather that all of that dharmic energy coalesces within Padmasambhava. So I personally like that. To know more about Yeshe Tsogyal, there is a very lovely book called The Life and Vision of Yeshe Tsogyal, and that's also on the website. And this is a paragraph from Yeshe Tsogyal, and it says let's see, where are we? Yeah. The personal, there have been myriad incarnations of Yeshe Tsogyal throughout Tibetan history, and relics of her hair, her Daikini script, articles of her clothing, and ritual implements that have been discovered. So it's important to know that Yeshe Tsogyal, she was a princess, and she lived in the 8th century, as did Padmasambhava, and that these were real people. And Yeshe Tsogyal particularly went through a lot of hardship because she was a princess, and her parents wanted to, in quotes, offer her to suitors as a wife, and her yearning for Dharma was such that that's not what she wanted. So her perseverance at that time is incredible. So we still have our tantric practice in Nyingma, and also our words of my perfect teacher, who are giving us direction for the how-tos for the practice, and along with Dr. Anne Klein's book on Waves of Splendor. So we have a lot of resources that we can call upon. So for this evening, we'll start with the reading of the 2 new pages of our practice. And then, as we've talked about, we're going to do the whole practice. And then in future meetings, we're going to complete the teachings for the Nunjo. And then our really wonderful news is that we're going to be offering a Nunjo support online so that we can do the accumulations together of Nunjo. And so that we will have an opportunity to gather as Nunjo practitioners. And we find that as we deepen our practice, as we do what's called the accumulations, and we move into the steps of receiving the blessings, then our practice begins to soar. So, for the beginning of Guru Yoga, which is what we are doing tonight, the beginning of Guru Yoga has its own merit. Remember that merit is that accumulation of positive energy. So, Emaho, in my vision, copper mount, I am Vajrayogini. At my crown, lotus, sun, moon, Lama, one with lotus born, marks, signs, adornments complete. 3 roots, rigs, and seas surround, clear, great, empty sight, sameness. We say this one time, and then we move into the very famous, well-known, well-repeated 7-line prayer. And our hands actually, when we're doing the practice, are in prayer, because just by saying the 7-line prayer, we're invoking, we are calling upon Padmasambhava, who really is the container of all of the blessings. It is where we connect. We find that our practice sometimes leaps. We think of doing something like meditation will take step by step, progress by progress, but sometimes meditation just takes a leap. And that leap comes through what's called blessings, and it also comes with the invisible power of dakinis that accompany Padmasambhava. So, Northwest Oregon's border there, on a blooming lotus stem, powers amazing and supreme, widely known as lotus born, with dakinis all around. I do practice as you did. Please bring on your waves of splendor. Guru, bring me cities hung. And probably many of us have heard the 7-line prayer chanted in Tibetan, such as Organ Yulji Nub Jamsam, Pema Gesar Dongpo La, Yatsan Choji Nub Jubne, Pema Jungne Ze Sudrag, Kordu Kadro Mangpo Kor, Keki Jesu Dag Jubji, Jinji Labjir Shegsu Sol, Guru Pema Siddhi Hung. And sometimes we'll go to teachings and we hear the 7-line prayer chanted many times. And this is a way of calling for blessings. And again, our next time together, we'll be invoking our deepest step into Guru Yoga, and we'll be receiving the blessings. So right now we're calling upon the blessings. We're calling upon that connection to Padmasambhava. We do that in this class through practice. And also we now know that we have the resources online for more investigation, and we can deepen that connection by really getting to know Padmasambhava. And again, the word guru is used because that is a translation of teacher in Tibetan. If guru, that word, doesn't quite sit as well, it's fine. It can be great teacher. It can be omniscient teacher. It can be an energy that we want to connect with and receive the teachings that expand our minds, that magnetize that which we need in Dharma, that pacify that which is an obstacle, so that we don't need to allow one word to interfere, or even that this is a source of blessings or faith or any of the words that may be laden for some people. It's fine. The word can be deep trust. The word can be, um, wanting to know. Sometimes I think the feeling of wanting to know what is just beyond, and knowing that there is an avenue and a way to get there, is so powerful, so wonderful. So whatever the motivation that makes the deepest connection for each of us is what's important. Okay. So we're going to do the practice. As we mentioned, that each night that we meet, we want to do the whole practice. So we will begin with the Dechen Barwa, the Great Blazing Bliss, and remembering that once again, we're moving into the practice where we're actually calling upon support. We're calling on the magnetizing energies to support us. We're calling upon Padmasambhava to really bring his grace. And a lot of times the blessing is grace. So we're allowing that, we're opening that which were obstacles, we've named them, and we're constantly working with them, but we've named them. And then it does require merit. We are still accumulating merit. And merit is that positive quality, those positive actions that we so very much want. And this work with Padmasambhava will bring positive change, as it did in Tibet. He was able to tame a lot of spirits that were untamable, and not just subdue them, but turn them into allies. And that is a very compassionate thing to do. So we begin our practice with Om Ahung, with the Great Blazing Bliss. Great bliss, blazing power, palace where wisdom ones know bliss and emptiness. Blissful lotus ones with no wanting. Vajra sun, great glory shines from there. True form Amitabha, Dorje Cho, Loketesh, Lord compassion, passionate. Lotus, Lord master of world and peace. Power, Heruka, outshines all things. Sangwa, Yeshe, Vajra, Varai, Demcho, desire, king, great bliss, treasure. Mind, muse, Rigjama, rules all mudras. High, low, dancing in bliss, emptiness. Power, wielding, dak and daki host. You know, seen and empty as the same. You dance your Vajra form, shakes three worlds, your laugh and ceaseless speech. Rouse three realms, red light rays suffuse all worlds and peace. Stir and gather world peace essences. Grant the 2 feet our supreme desire. Vajra passion of our own heart mind. With great Vajra hooks and lassos you bind to great bliss all you know and see. Dance, play in the endless magic net, like sesame pods burst open with 3 roots power, God hosts vast array. Bless and grant us with respect, I pray, for unhindered cities power in all feats high and low that I desire. And the 3 homage to the Guru, Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be. And the 9 breaths, remember, that clear the channels. And again, with the finger and the forefinger folding over the hand and making the torso as straight as possible, and the fists going into the psoas muscle. And we start with the left hand. We're breathing in, and then we're breathing out 3 times on the opposite side. And the other side. And for the middle, breathing in the radiant light and breathing out any external excess air, causing blockages, and releasing the tensions of greed, hatred, and delusion. And then the Om Ahum 21 times. And these we say silently to ourselves, the Om Ahum, the white, red, and blue lights. This is a relaxing breath, just as the breath comes in on Om, stays for a minute on Ah, and releases on Hum. And we move into the purification of speech, and that's where the tongue becomes the red vajra. And we again say Om Ahum 3 times, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. Red ram fire burns away my tongue. Now a tri-spoke vajra of red light. Letters interrising essence there. Wheels of pearl strands in its hollow core. Their lights, gifts, please Buddha's heirs. Return clear speech, blocks yield vajra, voice. All speech blessings, cities I receive. I, ri, li, li, ah. I, ri, li, ah. Ri, ah. Ka 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 na, cha 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 na, ta 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 na, ta 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 na, ta 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 na, pa 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 ma, yara lawa, sha sha ha sha. Ka 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 na, ta 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 na, pa 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 ma, yara lawa, sha sha sha. Kakakakana, ta-ta-ta-ta-na, 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 pa-pa-pa-pa-ma, yara lawa, sha, sha, sha. Ye Dharma Hitu Trabawa Hitum Tekum Tatagato Hayadat Tekum Cha Yo Naroda Ewamwadi Mahashramana Soha. Ye Dharma Hitu Trabawa Hitum Tekum Tatagato Hayadat Tekum Cha Yo Naroda Ewamwadi Mahashramana Soha. Ye Dharma Hitu Trabawa Hitum Tekum Tatagato Hayadat Tekum Cha Yo Naroda Ewamwadi Mahashramana Soha. And the calling of the Lama, as the Lama opens in our heart, arises to the crown of our heads. Lama can, Lama can, Lama can. From faith an open flower in my heart, arise, sole refuge, my kind Lama. Coarse deeds and failings now affect me. Protect me from this difficult lot. Arise, adorn my great bliss crowns. Will rouse me to be mindful and aware. And the four thoughts that turn me from samsara. Freedom's rare life lost to distraction. Despite change, death, mind grasp permanence. Afflictions sway, their efforts sure to ensnare me in the suffering swirl. Swift soul refuge, most loving Lama, transform these minds, my most kind Lama. Rare mortal base, take on real meaning. May I guard pure ethics and leave this world. And our refuge, which we do 3 times with hands in prayer. In 3 real jewels, 3 root bliss-filled ones, channels, winds, bright orbs, this Bodhi mind, essence, nature, moving love, Mandell, until full Bodhi I seek refuge. In 3 real jewels, 3 root bliss-filled ones, channels, winds, bright orbs, this Bodhi mind, essence, nature, moving love, Mandell, until full Bodhi I seek refuge. In 3 real jewels, 3 root bliss-filled ones, channels, winds, bright orbs, this Bodhi mind, essence, nature, moving love, Mandell, until full Bodhi I seek refuge. And this is where our energy goes up into the vision of Padmasambhava, and momentarily our energy dissolves into the heart of Padmasambhava, and we take a moment just to feel that. And again, we are here with our own motivation, the bodhicitta motivation. Oh, like moons in waters, sights deceive us. We ever roam bound in cyclic chains, so all may rest in their clear mind sphere. I raise Bodhi through 4 boundless states. Oh, like moons in water, sights deceive us. We ever roam bound in cyclic chains, so all may rest in their clear mind sphere. I raise Bodhi through 4 boundless states. Oh, like moons and waters, sights deceive us. We ever roam bound in cyclic chains, so all may rest in their clear mind sphere. I raise Bodhi through four boundless states. And now we take a moment where the refuge of Padmasambhava and the whole lineage, Longchen Rabdram, Jigme Lingpa, Vimalamitra, Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, and whatever we have envisioned, other teachers that we have studied with, part of our refuge tree, and we allow that energy to dissolve back into our hearts. We take a moment for receiving. And now we further purify with the glorious light of Vajrasattva and the 100-syllable mantra. And we'll do the 100-syllable mantra 3 times for this evening. At the crown of my head on Lotus Moon, from whom Lama Dorje Sem, white jeweled, clear with Vajra bell, around whose Yabum Moonheart whom, mantra circles, nectar flows, cleansing ills, harm, faults, and blocks. And we'll do it a little more quickly this evening. Om Benzrasata Samaya Manupalaya Benzrasata Tanopa Tishto Jado Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Maitryatsa Sarva Karma Tsutsame Sridam Guru Guru Hung Ha 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 ho Bhagawan Sarva Tata Gata Benzramame Muns Benzri Bhawa Mahasamaya Sata Ped Om Bendrasata Samaya Manupalaya Bendrasata Tanapa Tishto Jado Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sarasiti Maitryatsa Sarva Karma Tsutsame Sridam Guru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sarva Tata Gata Benzramame Munsa Benzri Bhawa Mahasamaya Sata Ped Om Bendrasata Samaya Manupalaya Bendrasata Tanapa Tisha Jada Mebawa Sudakaya Mebawa Anurakta Mebawa Sarvasiti Maitryatsa Sarva Karma Tsitsame Sridam Gidagada Hung Hao Bhagawan Sarva Tata Gata Benzramame Munsa Benzri Bawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pet Dorsam light melts into me, beings, Buddhas, pure lands. And we'll do just a very quick 100 of Om Bendrasata Hung as the energy of Vajrasattva dissolves into our hearts. Om Bendrasata Hung, Om Bendrasata Hung, Om Bendrasata Hung. We move into the mandala. And when we do not have our mandala pan with us, we do the mudra, which we'll work on, but holding our fingers. And Omahung, 3 kayas lands, ocean in 1 drop. endless such in each tiny atom, offered now to refuge ocean. So goodness, wisdom, both needs now complete. Idam, Guru, Ratna, Mandala, Kamnir, Yami. And we go to severance. Pet. Wrong, recreate essence soars to space. Me sense false forms, good things for our feast. Give clouds for guests, come enjoy them all. Be in stainless Dharmakaya state. Pet. And now our new edition of Guru Yoga. Emaho. In my vision, Copper Mount, I am Vajra Yogini. At my crown, lotus, sun, moon, Lama, one with lotus born, mark signs, adornments complete. 3 roots, rigs, and seas surround, clear, great, empty sight, sameness. And then we move to the 7-line prayer, which we've just gone over. Whom Northwest Oregon's border there on a blooming lotus stem, powers amazing and supreme, widely known as lotus born, with dakinis all around. I do practice as you did. Please bring on your waves of splendor. Guru, bring me cities home. And we'll complete our evening practice, and then we will have some time for our questions. And we'll do our closing.
Would you like me to read the dedication?
Yes, I would love it. Yes.
By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that varied ground.
Thank you. And